All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this class today. And in this class, I would like us to look at a number of concepts in PHP. I want us to look at conditional statements in PHP. I would love us to look at loops in PHP. I would love us to look at how to work with arrays in PHP. Yeah, arrays in PHP. And if we still have time, guys, we will look at how to work with user-defined methods. User-defined methods in PHP. User-defined methods in PHP. Yeah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I think we can just start right away. So let's create the first, our project. So just click on create and ensure that your project has been connected to the server folder called htdocs. Then inside htdocs, we created our own folder called web projects. Now, right here, and if you haven't seen that, please guys, find out on our previous videos that we recorded. Yeah. So let's call this as project 3. Project 3. Then simply click on create. Create. Let's give it a few seconds for it to create. Now, real quick, it's working quite okay. So the very next thing that I need to do is let me create a new file here. Maybe the one that we can start with is conditional statements. Yeah, I can just call this as conditional statements. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here is our conditional statements file. But you see, before we even look at conditional statements, we need to understand a number of operators that exist in PHP. A number of operators that exist in PHP. Yeah, some of which are going to be super instrumental when it comes to coding in PHP. So real quick, let me just increase my font size so that we can continue together. Yeah. Now, so ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we have created our conditional statements file. But on this file, we will start by understanding first what are some of the operators. Yeah, operators that exist in PHP. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if I can just redirect you guys to W3 schools, we have the operators are used to perform operations on variables and values. Yeah, and we will look at some of those operations in this very class. Yeah. PHP divides the operators in the following groups. So the first group that PHP divides the operators in is the arithmetic operators. We are going to look at the arithmetic operators, where we will get the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, and exponential operators. Yeah, we'll look at how these work. Yeah, we have assignment operators, and clearly we have PHP assignment operators right here. Now, I want us to start by looking at first arithmetic operators. Then we will follow this order, guys. We'll just follow this order so that finally we'll have looked at the operators in PHP. Yeah, operators in PHP. Now, arithmetic operators, I know so far right now, guys, you know what is an additional sign, what is a subtraction sign, what is a multiplication and a division sign, like that. So in this class, I just want us to look at these two, modulus and exponential. Yeah. So the modulus sign, like say, if I just say echo 3 modulus 2. What do you expect that is going to be? The result is going to be 3 modulus 2. When you do a modulus, it means it is going to print. It is going to print the result, the remainder after dividing 3 with 2. Yeah. So what is the remainder when you divide 3 with 2? The remainder is 1. So the modulus of 3 modulus 2, the result should be 1. Let's try to see if this is going to work. So to run this, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't known how to run PHP, some of you are doing things wrongly like this. Look up. Some of you are just coming to our PHP store. Then you click on, like, say, a browser here. And when you click on it, it is going to give you a bad gateway error like that. Yeah, it's going to give you a bad gateway error like that, that is not the way to run, guys. Yeah, you need to know how we are running our, you need to know how we are running our project. So what we do is, instead of doing that, you start by localhost small letters like that, slash, then the project folder is web projects. This is our our projects folder. Yeah, so when I hit on an enter, today we are working with project 3. So here is my project 3. I click on it. Then here is conditional statements. Let me click on it. Then you see 3 modulus. 2 is 1. This is giving me the result is 1. So any other time, yeah, as a matter of fact, I can simply say this is modulus. Yeah. Then let me echo a break. Let me echo a break so that we can look at another. Let me echo a break. Then you see there's this exponential operator. So the exponential operator is as good as raising to the power. Yeah, raising to the power of some number. Yeah, raising to, like, say for example nth power. If I just say echo 2 or say 3 exponential 2, the result needs to be something like 9. Yeah, because I'm raising 3 to 2. Yeah, 3 to 2. So the result should be something like 9. Yeah, you see it has given me the result is 9. That is the exponential operator. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is the first part of arithmetic operators. It is going to be, it can be so disturbing if one of you guys doesn't know how an additional sign or a negative sign or a multiplication or a division sign, how they work. It can be so devastating. So yeah, that is one. So let's look at assignment operators. So assignment operators in PHP are used actually with numeric values to write a value to a variable, something like that. Yeah, writing a value to a variable. Like for example, if I do something like this, yeah, like say variable x equals to 0, something like that, or equals to 10. This is an assignment operator. This is an assignment operator which is saying x is equal to 10. If I echo x, you guys know the result. You guys know the result that it's simply going to give me 10. And that is the assignment operator. We have, this is saying the left operand gets set to the value. Yeah. Then you see when you say x plus equals to y is as good as saying x equals to x plus y, and that means that's an addition assignment operator. Yeah, yeah. So let me do this example here, guys, so that you can see. Let me just echo a break here. Let me also echo a break here. Now let's have variable a equals to 10 or 20. Variable b equals to 30. Variable c equals to, sorry, this variable c equals to variable a plus variable b. This one for sure you know the result, guys. This one for sure you know the result. You know the result. Yeah. As a matter of fact, variable, I can say variable, yeah, variable c equals to variable a plus variable b. Yeah, it is just an assignment operator. Then I could do something like this. Variable c equals to variable c plus variable b, something like that. I can also do something like this because this is just an addition assignment operator. But there is a better way that I haven't actually really explained this really well. There's a better way that we'll see this work, especially when we want to increment a value, where we say x equals to x plus 1 or something like that. Yeah. So it's like saying variable a equals to variable a plus variable b. This is as good as saying this one here is as good as saying variable A plus equals variable B. That is as good as saying that, guys. Yeah. So if I just echo the values of, like, say, let me say, if I echo variable C, as in I'm going to get the result. If I echo variable A, I'm going to get the result. So let me say echo variable A. It needs to give me some kind of result right there. Yeah, you see the result is giving me 8 there. So you don't even have to be bothered about this. This is just an assignment operator. It doesn't matter how I'm adding these values, guys. That is not what should be of importance in this class. Of importance is just know that if you say a variable equals to this plus this is how the addition assignment operator works. Yeah, let me just echo a break so we can continue. Now, yeah, you guys can look at these. You see, we have the subtraction, multiplication, and division and modulus operator. Yeah, yeah, modulus operator. Modulus operator. It is actually going to be quite okay. It is going to be quite okay. Then there's comparison operators right here. So these comparison operators, they are actually operators that are used to compare two values. So this is how to compare if two numbers are equal. And now when we get to these guys is when I want us to start looking at conditional statements, because I want to combine conditional statements with comparison operators. Yeah, because if we assign a condition is going to use a comparison operator to return a result. Yeah, so for example, let me just, yeah, I've already echoed a break there. So let me just say, sorry, let me just even comment out and say, let me say something like, say, conditional statements. Conditional statements. Yeah, so for conditional statements, I've actually just highlighted. So we have three types of conditional, actually two types of conditional statements in PHP. So we have the if statements and the switch case statements. We can go further to break down the if statements into if statement and else statements, else if statements, and nested if statements. But in the meantime, let us just look at how the if statement works. So assuming you have a variable, say W or X equals to something like, say, 10. Then we say if, this is a condition, if variable X is less than something like, say, 10, we can echo and say X is less than 10. Else, echo X is equal, is not
sir.
than 10. Does that mean it? Not less than 10. Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, yeah, right here we are saying we have the modulus, and the modulus returns the remainder after division. The exponential returns the value of x raised to y. Yeah, here's the example. And then we have the additional operator right here, and the additional operator, like right now, variable a plus equals to variable y is as good as saying variable a equals to variable a plus variable y, which should give me the result as 30. If I echo that, should give me 30. Then we have these conditional statements concept, which we now want to use to look at how to work with comparison operators in PHP. Yeah, comparison operators in PHP. Comparison operators in PHP. Now, and on the comparison operators, I have already begun looking at how to work with the less than sign. Yeah, it returns true if X is less than Y. Yeah, so that means I'm actually checking. You see right now I have a variable X, which is at 10. Then I'm checking if variable X is less than 10, just tell me x is less than 10. Else, just say x is not less than 10. So in this case, if I run this code, it should give me x is not less than 10. Why? Because clearly x is 10 and 10 cannot be less than 10. So if I try to run these guys, let me see. If I try to run these, clearly you see, if I refresh, yeah, x is not less than 10, just right there. X is not less than 10. X is not less than 10. Let me look at another operator. Yeah, let me just echo another break right here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me echo another break. So PHP can become really straightforward if you have understood what you're doing. Yeah, so PHP can be super straightforward. Now let's look at how to work with a greater than sign. So assuming variable y equals to 20, then we can check an if statement. So if variable y is greater than 10, we can echo and say y is greater than 10. Else, echo y is not greater than 10. Yeah, so if I run this, right now clearly y is at 20. So if y is at 20 and we're checking, if y is greater than 10, yeah, clearly y is 20, so y is greater than 10. This code is going to give me y is greater than 10 because we have actually assigned 20 to y and 20 is greater than 10. And so yeah, that's true. It's actually going to return a true. Y is greater than 10. So if I refresh these, it's going to give me something like y is greater than 10. Super, super. Yeah, let me echo a break so we can look at another thing. Echo a break. We can look at another operator. I'm just echoing a break right there. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, on the conditional statements, only that I just did mention, we have begun looking at if statements. If statements. Yeah, these are if statements. We are using if statements to check or to actually utilize the comparison operators. Now we have looked at the greater than, we've looked at the less than. So let's look at another one. So assuming variable z equals to something like, say, maybe 30. Then we can say if z is equal to 30, is actually equivalent. This is checking equivalence. So you see, if you just use one sign, like you see x equals to 30, this is an assignment. I am actually saying x is equal to z is equal to 30. But this one here is not sure. I'm just checking the equivalence. Yeah. So if I put it like that, this becomes wrong. This becomes wrong because this is an assignment. Yeah, but I want to check equivalence. Yeah, to check if this is equal to this. So if z is equal to 30, then I can echo and say z is equivalent to 30. Else, echo z is not equivalent to 30. It is not equivalent, guys. It is not equivalent at all. So z is 30. If z is equivalent to 30, so this is checking equivalence, not equal. This is like assigning x is equal to 30. No, we are actually checking equivalence. And as a matter of fact, you see, if I just come to the B3 schools, they are actually saying returns if this is equal to y. Yeah, so we are actually checking equivalence. Equivalence. Yeah, yeah. So we are not assigning, we are checking equivalence. Equivalence. Yeah. So is equivalent to or equal, yeah, equal to 30. Yeah. So if it is actually equal, then is when you will say it is equivalent to 30. But if it is not equal, you will return and say it is not equivalent to that. Yeah. So right away, I can simply now, sorry for that. Yeah, I can simply now come and refresh here and say, yeah, Z is equivalent to 30. Z is equivalent to 30 because you see we have just placed this one to be 30. But if I change this one to be something like say 32 like that, then I just come and run. You see, yeah, Z is not equivalent to 30. It is not equivalent, guys. Yeah. So yeah, let me just echo another break. Echo another break right there. So you see, I'm using a conditional statement if to make you sure that you guys understand these comparison operators. So you see, I can also check using these. This stands for not equal. This one here stands for not equal still. Yeah, less than and greater than like that. Not equal. Yeah, this is checking if they are identical. Identical means they are actually same, but with the same data type. So that means, look at these. Yeah, look at these. I'm having variable W equals to something like say 15. Then I can just say if W is identical to 15.0, if it is identical to 15.0, then we can echo and say W is equal and identical to 15.0, something like that. Else echo and say is not, W is not identical, is not, is neither. I can even say is not equal, is neither equal nor. And even just say something like that. It is actually not equal or identical. So it is not identical. We can just simply say is not identical. W is not identical to 15. Something like that. Yeah. So you see, this is 15, this is 15. They are actually equal, but they are not of the same data type. This is an integer and this is a float. So these three equal signs, they check for if it is identical. If they are identical. So right away, it will just check. See, W is not identical to 15. Why? Because they are actually equal, but they don't look the same. As in, this is an integer and this is a float. So they are not identical. Let's echo a break. Let's echo a break there. Let's look at another operator, guys. Yeah, this is checking. You see, if I start with a not, this is identical. But you see, if I want to check if it is not identical, I just start with an exclamation mark. Just like the same way I can check not equal with an exclamation mark like that. Yeah. So this is greater or equal, and this is less or equal, and this is a spaceship. I will show you what the spaceship does, and this was introduced in PHP 7. Yeah. So this, let's check greater or equal. So greater or equal, actually this is something that you can do. Greater or equal returns true if X is greater than or equal to Y. So if X is 10 or greater than 10, we return true, something like that. That's an example, just in spoken. Yeah. Then, so the spaceship the spaceship operator. So this is how the spaceship operator works, guys. So yeah, this is even a better way to show you. Yeah. So this is going to return -1 because x is less than y. I mean, let's just do it, guys. Let me not use the web version. So variable I equals to maybe 50, variable j equals to 60. Then let me just say echo variable j spaceship variable j, actual variable I spaceship variable j. So what is this saying? Switch to PHP 7. Yeah, it is actually demanding that I switch to PHP 7. Let me just switch. Yeah, that was introduced to in PHP 7, so I was required to switch to PHP 7. So if I just try to run this, is going to return. Let me tell you, it is actually going to return -1. It is going to return -1 because it is going to return -1 because j is less than 60. And it would, if this was also 50 like this, then it will return a 0. It is going to return a 0. But this, if this was 40, it will return a 1, a 1, a 1. Like you see, now this is going to return 1, 1 because actually I is greater than j. Then if I just return this one to 50, it is going to return a 0. Yeah, 0 because they are actually equal. But if this j is greater, yeah, it is going to return a 1, going to return a -1, -1. So that's how the spaceship operator works. And this is just so straightforward because these guys are saying that the spaceship operator returns an integer less than or equal to or greater than 0, depending on if x is less than, equal to, or greater than y, introduced in PHP 7. Yeah, this was introduced in PHP 7. In PHP 5, that might not work. That might not work. Now, having said that, guys, I think the comparison operators, we've looked at the most of them. So if there are those that you haven't looked at, ladies and gentlemen, you can just you can look at them. There's also these something called increment operators. Increment operators. Increment operators. Yeah. So if I just say plus plus, yeah. So if I just run this, let me show you guys. Assuming I have, let me just echo a break. Let me have variable number here, variable number, which is at 0. So let me just echo variable number plus plus. That is automatically incrementing that number. Yeah, so you see variable number is at 0 right now, but if I'm echoing variable number plus plus, it should give me something like 1 because I have incremented. I've incremented by 1. So let me see. Expecting that it should give me some kind of a result. Real quick, variable number plus plus, then echo variable number. Let me see, variable number plus plus. Yeah, it has actually worked. You see, it has incremented that, and yeah, it is actually working. Yeah, so I have incremented the number. So variable number plus plus means I am incrementing. Yeah, it means I'm incrementing that number right there. And also, instead of writing this like these guys, let me just show you another way of how to write this exact one. I can do something like this. Again, I can just simply say variable number plus equals to 1. Something like that. I have already incremented that again. So if I just refresh this, it is still 1. Yeah, but this is more flexible because I can also decide to increment a number by 2. I can decide to increment a number by 2. So you see, it is just going to go to 2 from 0. From 0 to automatically just be incremented to 2. To 2. Yeah, so that is an incrementing sign. And you see, if I wanted to decrement these, I can just like do a minus like that, or I can just do with a negative sign here, number minus minus. That is decrementing that number. See, this is a decrement. Yeah, pre-increment, increase by 1, then return the answer. But again, this one is return the answer, then increment by 1. Yeah, yeah. So that is, you'll actually read about the difference, but you see it is just negative, negative, and plus, plus right there. Then we have these logical operators in PHP, logical operators in PHP, logical operators in PHP. Yeah, but don't forget the concept of how to write if statements in PHP, because we are getting back to that when we start looking at how to do now the else if statements. Else if statements. Yeah, yeah. So let's see. Let me just echo a break here. Do a break right there. Yeah. So real quick, ladies and gentlemen, um, now on logical operators, guys, you see there is this operator called logical and, or, XOR, and you see there is this and there is a logical and. There's an or, and there's a logical or here. This one, these two pipes. Then there's an and, no, XOR, actually, yeah, you can just say XOR, then this is a not. Yeah, not is true if it's not true. Yeah, not X or not Y or something like that. Now let's do an example. Yeah, so we can say variable num1 equals to 10, variable num2 equals to 20, something like that. So let's just write an if statement and check. If num1 is greater than 5, or num2 is less than 15, echo true, something like that. Let's just work with a true or false. Else echo false. Sorry. Now look up, guys. You see, we are using an or. So if num1 is greater than 5, or so whichever that works here, it is actually going to return true. Yeah, and it can only return true if one of these conditions are true. As a matter of fact, you see the or, they're telling us true if either X or Y is true. Yeah, is if either. That means now let's start and say, if num1 is greater than 5. Now let's check, is num1 greater than 5? Yes, num1 is actually greater than 5 because num1 is 10. Yeah, then or num2 is less than 15. Is num2 less than 15? So num2 is actually not less than 15 because num2 is 20. But you see, even though this second one is failing, but the first one is going through, you see, the fact is we are working with or, so it is either these or these. So if this one is failing, we can go with these. I mean, we are not restricted, these or these, so it is actually going to return true. But you see, if I just put something here like say now a 3, this will return false. Why? Because it will check num1 is greater than 5. If you check num1 is actually 3, so num1 is not greater than 5. That has failed. Or now let's check the second one. Num1 is less than 15. So num1 is actually not less than 15 because num2 is not less than 15 because num2 is 20. So clearly the second one has also failed. And so that means this is going to say false because these two statements have failed. But you see now these guys are trying to say you can either say or you can use two pipes like that. That is also saying or. It is not forward slashes. No, not forward slashes. Straight pipes like that. So right now this is going to fail if I just try to run these. You see it's saying false. Why? Because actually all these conditions have failed. These and this has failed. Now let me echo a break. Let me echo a break. Let me echo a break like that. Now, let me echo a break like that. Now, having said that, ladies and gentlemen, you see, if we have something like, say, variable num3 equals to maybe say 30, variable num4 equals to 40, something like that, then we can simply say if variable num3 is greater than 20 and num4, sorry, this is meant to be a variable num4 is less than 30, echo something like, say, true. Else echo false. Now let's look at these guys. So you see we have num3 which is at 30 and num4 is at 40. Now we are writing an if statement to check if num3 is greater than 20. Actually num3 is greater than 20. That is true. That is true. Num3 is greater than 20. That this condition has passed. But you see the fact that we are putting here an and, it means we can only return true if and only if both the conditions are true. So this first condition is actually true because, yeah, it is actually true. Num3 is greater than 20, but this one is failing. So this one is failing because num4 is not less than 30. Yeah, num4 is actually 40. So num4 is not less than 30. So this is going to return a false. A false. Why? Because the first one has passed, but the second one has failed. And we need both of them to be true for it to work. Yeah. So as a matter of fact, you see, these guys are saying this and means true if both x and y are true. If both, it can only be true if both of them are true. Yeah. So num3 is greater than 20. This is true, and num4 is less than 30. This is actually a false. This is false. It is actually not true. It is not true. This one here is false. So it is actually going to return a false because it can only be true if both of them have passed. But you see, if I just change this one to be a greater sign like that, so that num4 is also greater than 30, yes, num4 is greater than 30. That is super true. That is super true. So if I execute this can give me a true, guys, because I've changed that sign to greater than. Yeah, you see, it's giving me true. It is giving me true because, yeah, both these conditions are true. And you see, I can also write it with an and or these ampersand, two ampersand signs like that. So if I just refresh, things might not change. Yeah, it is actually just working the same. So this is the logical and sign. Yeah, you can use the two logical and signs right there. And like this. Yeah. You can either just type there and, or you can use those logical signs like that. Yeah. So whichever one that makes you feel comfortable, go ahead. Better. That's quite okay for you. That is quite okay for you. That is quite okay for you. Let me echo a break so that we can look at another. So let me say break. Then now look at this. Now we have looked at and or, yeah, which is definitely still this and this or. Now there's this XOR. XOR, it is true if either X or Y is true, but not both. Yeah, you understand this? If either X or Y is true, but not both. So that means, assuming I have variable num5 equals to something like, say, maybe 10, then variable num6 equals to something like, say, 20. Yeah, so I can say if num5 if num5 if num5 is greater than 6 or something like that, XOR num6 is less than 10, echo true, else echo false, echo false. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you see, this can only be true if either of them is true, but not all of them. So you see, right now, if I just change this to be something like, say, 40, yeah, let me put that at 40. So you see, if num5 is greater than 6, yeah, num5 is actually greater than 6. That is true. That is true. Yeah, num5 is actually greater than 6. XOR num6 is less than 40. Num6 is less than 40. This is true. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to return a false. Why? Because both of them are true. Both of them are true. Both of them are true. So it will return a false. This can only return true if just one of them is true. So that means if I just change this to a greater sign, this can now return a true because one of them is true. And the one that is true is this one here. X is greater than 6. X is greater than 6. So if I run this is going to return a true. A true. Just like that. Just like that. So, ladies and gentlemen, clearly, if you look at this, everything else is actually working as we desire. And you see, operators in PHP can become super straightforward. We have always just worked with a negation sign. Yeah, this is not. Yeah, this is to mean not. To mean not. Yeah, then there is this concatenation and there is this appending. Yeah, you use this. So you guys can look at how to work with appending in PHP. You can look at how to work with appending in PHP, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, then this is the PHP array operators. Yeah, these ones we've looked at them because they are just like assignment operators and conditional assignment operators. Yeah, ternary returns the. So actually, what I want you guys to look at right now in the next few minutes, as a matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you some tests so that you can do. So attempt reading through these. These are super straightforward. Attempt reading through these. Attempt reading through these and using an example, attempt implementing these or the ternary assignment operator and the null coalescing, yeah, the null coalescing operator. Yeah, try to implement these two. Then let me know in a few. Yeah, so the ternary operator is like an if statement per se, yeah, whereby you see, like, for example, here, you see, I'm going to echo true if actually num7 is less than 10, but clearly you see num7 is 10. So it's like I'm checking if num7 is less than 10, print true, else print false. So I'm very sure right now it's going to print false. It's actually going to print a false. It is going to print a false. Let me echo a break so we can continue. So ladies and gentlemen, in a nutshell, I've actually tried to combine operators and if statements, yeah, and conditional statements somehow, but we have only so far looked at how to work with an if statement. So in this very next session, let's look at how to work with an else if statement. So else if statement. Else if statement. So assuming we have a variable like say variable max, which is equals to something like maybe someone has 25 marks, yeah, then we want to write an if statement to go through these marks as we check the kind of marks the student has scored, as we assign grades, yeah. So real quick, we can simply now say if max is less than 25, we can echo an e. Then else if is how to write an else if. So else if max is less than 35, we can echo a d. Else if variable max is less than 45, we can echo a c. Else if variable max is less than 55, we can echo a b. Else if variable max is less than 65, no, we can actually just do an else. Else echo an a. Yeah, so if, yeah, so real quick, let's just try out this. So the max is 25. So this max 25 is actually less than 35. So we should print something like a D. Yeah, you see we have printed a D. If I just put my max to something like say 53 there, yeah, so 53 is going to fall under less than 55. Yeah, so it should give me something like, oh, sorry, what is that? Sorry, I changed on a wrong one. So this is 53. Yeah, it's giving me a B. Yeah, so this is clearly how to write an else if statement, guys. Else if statement. Else if statement. Yeah, so we can also have something called a switch case statement, which is super straightforward. Switch case statement. Switch case. Yeah, switch case statement. Yeah, so you can have maybe something like say, this is how to write an else if statement, guys. So if you missed it out, yeah, super straightforward. There's nothing complicated about this at all. Yeah, then so yeah, so switch case statement. Yeah, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, switch case statement. Now, a switch case statement works like this. So let's have maybe variable, say name equals to something like say king. Yeah, then we can switch through this variable called name. So switch through name, then case If you find there something like king in that variable, you can echo this is a lecturer. Then we break. I'll tell you what the break does. Then case, maybe if you get someone like say Johnny, then we can echo something like say student. Break. Then case, let's say someone like James or Janet. So Johnny, let's say something like male student. Janet, we can echo something like female student. Break. Then case. Actually, we don't even need another case. Let's just work with that. Then default. Echo. We don't recognize. We don't recognize that name. Something like that. So you see, we are switching through the variable name right here, and we look at what is inside there. Yeah. So name right now is king. If I run this, it is going to tell me this is a lecturer. But if I just change the name to something like say King Wanyama, this will fail. It will actually tell me we don't recognize that name. As a matter of fact, let's try. Yeah, we don't recognize that name. So I'm just sorry that after this here, which one? After the else statement, the if else statement here, we didn't echo a break so that every other thing goes to the next line. Yeah. So yeah, real quick. So you see right now, if I just run these, yeah, we don't recognize that name. Yeah. But if I put here a name just like King, like that, see, this is a lecturer. And if I put there a name like say Janet, see, female student, and if I put there a name like Johnny, is definitely going to be male student. But you see, what if I put here a name like King and I don't put this break here? You see, it is going to find King, but I have not broken that code. Yeah. So if I just run it like that, you see, it is going to say this is a lecturer, then male student. So that means it is going to execute these, and instead of stopping where we had placed the break here, instead of stopping, it is coming to execute the second block of code again, which is undesirable. So the break is playing the role of breaking the code once we get the desired case, yeah, or once we reach out a desirable case to be executed. So, ladies and gentlemen, so I guess we can do this class in two sections, whereby in the first class, we've looked at how to work with operators and conditional statements. So in our next class, we will start looking at how to work with loops, and I believe we will manage to look at how to work with conditional statements and arrays as well. Yeah, as well as sorting arrays. So in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for attending this class. Yeah, that's it for today, and let's meet in our next lecture. Bye bye for now, guys, and see you in our next lecture.